Hey everybody, morning. How's it going? Morning. Evening from Manila. Hey, we are where we are, and it's just kind of the way it works. Um, let's see. Let's see if we can get a poll going. There we go. And see, we got Don, Gayton, Arturo, Sergio, Dan, Rob, Mark, Terry, Piet, Diane, Jim, Craig, Cheat, not sure, Steve, I guess, Ted, Sledge, Tara. Good to see everybody, and welcome back. Got the most ghost monster today. It's actually like a teal color, I guess. A little more on the green, so that the green screen picks it up. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can chat with us. Click the button over there. Subscribe, and while you're at it, consider being a channel member, supporting the channel. If you like the content I do, click that button underneath. And remember, I got stuff all over this page. And if you need to leave or come back, you can always watch the replay later. So welcome, all you magnificent monsters of the markets. Welcome back to the Morning Monster Show. Might be one of the only shows that fuels your financial genius with pure, unadulterated caffeine and questionable life choices, right? I mean, no coffee here, everybody. Got to run on higher octane. Anyway, so I was at the grocery store the other day, right? Saw something that perfectly captures the absolute circus that has been the 2025 economy so far this year. In one aisle, take my hoodie off, stay a while here. In one aisle, you have a guy in a suit, probably on his way to a Zoom meeting in his Tesla, loading his cart with what looked like organic kale, maybe some artisanal cheese. And that probably cost more than his first car, right? I mean, a bottle of wine with a cork so fancy that probably has its own LinkedIn profile out there. His cart overflowing, not even looking at prices. And then the next aisle, you got a mom, two kids hanging off the carts, and she's sitting there trying to figure out if they can buy Cheerios or if they got to buy the name store brand. It's tough. You can see the stress on her face. She's trying to figure out how to stretch every dollar until it maybe becomes two, or it screams for mercy at the minimum. And that, my friends, is what they call the K-shaped economy in a nutshell. You've got the haves and the have not so muches, or have nots. And this is not just a fancy term that economists have been throwing around to sound smart. It's actually a real thing, and it's really here, and it's really happening, and it's creating some interesting opportunities for those of us paying attention. So, the good people over at General Mills, the people that bring you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Pillsbury Doughboy, Giggles, and all that various stuff, they just had an earnings call. They basically said, we have confirmed what we've all been kind of thinking was happening here. We have actually confirmed it. Their CEO, Jeff Harmening, I guess you would say his name. Yeah, I should have practiced that name a little bit. He got a little extra vowel in there. Harmening came out and said, yeah, our earnings are better than expected, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Well, Nelly, this consumer, there's not just one. It's a very complicated landscape right now. He talked about a bifurcated consumer environment right now. The fact that we do in fact have a K-shaped economy right now. And that's the $10 word our tale of two grocery carts has right here. The fancy cheese Tesla guy doing great. The top half of the K, no worries. But the mom trying to make the budget work, She's the bottom half of the K. And that part of the letter is pointing down and spiraling down pretty hard. And here's the kicker. People aren't just buying cheaper stuff because there's more cheaper stuff on sale. The number of promotions hasn't really been going up. People are actively hunting deals. They're becoming financial ninjas in the cereal aisle out of sheer necessity to try to put food on the table. They're stretching every dollar because they pretty much have to. So, as traders and investors, what do we do with all this kind of K-shaped economy information and this craziness? We've got a few potential options to try to squeeze a buck out of it. The defensive doughboy here, you could kind of look at a company like General Mills, ticker GIS, Golf, India, Sierra. I mean, this is what we call a consumer staple. This company right here. People need to eat. Even when they're broke, people got to eat. They may not buy the fancy organic kale, but they'll probably still buy some Cheerios. And these stocks, well, they're the reliable, boring sedans of your portfolio. They're not going to win you any drag races, but they can get you where you need to go without breaking down. And right now, the whole consumer staples sector, consumer staples sector is pretty much on sale. Been beaten down all year. It's one of the least favored sectors out there. And, well, as I've pointed out for years now, our underperforming sectors tend to not be underperforming sectors for very long. The worst performing sectors of the year tend to not be the worst performing sectors for multiple years in a row. Sector rotation. So you might be able to find some bargains. Now, Goldman Sachs, they pointed out there's like this sin stock special going on in the market right now. And this is where things get a little more fun. See, the geniuses over at Goldman Sachs, they put out these trading reports, of course, and in their infinite wisdom, they have kind of a different idea about how to play this whole thing. They're actually telling their clients right now to buy, this was pretty great when I saw the headline, buy nicotine, energy drinks, and candy. Yeah, you heard that right. Their thesis is this: hey, the economy's kind of weird right now. People are pretty much stressed out, and when people get stressed out, they lean on their vices. I mean, you have to admit, the sheer unadulterated capitalism of it all, it's like, I see y'all are struggling to make ends meet, so have some cigarettes and a Red Bull, maybe a Hershey bar for the sugar rush to get you through your second job. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays out for them. You know, there's companies like Philip Morris, PM, Papa Mike, Monster Beverage. That's Mike November, Sierra Tango. Yeah, that's us, right? And Hershey. That's Hotel Sierra Yankee, HSY. And you know what? Goldman Sachs may not be wrong. I mean, when times are tough, people tend to forego the luxury items and go for small little rewards. So $5 energy drink is a lot cheaper than a vacation to Disney World. But there's more. The same Goldman analyst, Bonnie Herzog, is also calling for 2026 to be the year of beer stocks. It's beer. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the Gen Z doesn't drink anything. At least not like previous generations. So why would they think this? Well, it's because we have a FIFA World Cup in the Olympics and the 250th anniversary of the good old USA coming up. It's kind of like a trifecta of reasons to crack open a cold one. So keep an eye on companies like Constellation Brands, Sierra Tango Zulu, STZ, and Molson Coors, TAP, our good buddies Anheuser-Busch maybe. And so what's the takeaway? The economy, not really a big monolith of cohesiveness. It's a tale of several Americans, two in particular, one at the top and one at the bottom, two grocery carts, one that doesn't care and one that tries to stretch every dollar. And as investors, we have to be smart if we're going to take advantage of the story behind the headlines. So you can play it safe with defensive stocks, the boring, reliable staples, or you can get when we say defensive stocks, we're talking about like consumer staple stuff. You can get a little cynical on the bet about sin stocks, or you can get ready to party with beer stocks. You got to take your pick. Maybe just grab a monster or share or two, read the tea leaves, and remember, this stuff is crazy. Crazy economy, crazy world, crazy headlines. The only thing you can really count on is that things are going to stay interesting probably as we go into 2026. So that's what we got for the monologue today. Moving on over, let's look at what's moving and shaking today. We got a lot of things popping, a few things dropping, and welcome back to the show, everybody. So, jump over here. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. I make predictions. Got a bag of unicorn dust. I try to predict what's happening, but sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult somebody for that. But I highly recommend you just take a personal interest in your own financial well-being. Nobody's going to do better for you than you. If you hire people to do anything for you, the cold, hard reality of that is they're just trying to make some of your money into some of their money. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. Be careful out there, everybody. Be careful out there. So, QQQ, look at that. Right down to the target yesterday. Threw that baby on there. Now, we're right back up where we started yesterday. It's craziness. So, are we going up here to that one? It's a good question. I kind of wrapped up yesterday. If you missed it, I was talking about the two gamma levels. We were sitting right here at 610 yesterday morning as I wrapped up. I was like, there is a giant gamma level, which means there are tons of option players down here at the 600 strike. Big gamma level, 600 strike. I was like, we'll probably go visit that. And then there was a giant gamma level up at the 620 strike. I love that disconnect thing. It's like, oh, I'm using TradingView, but no, let's disconnect it. So 620 up here, 600 down here, two giant gamma levels on the December 19th expiration, which coming up tomorrow. So, and now here we are right back at 610. Take a dip down here. So today maybe the pop. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. So look at it pulling this down to the low here. And we have resistance now at that 618 area. Big gamma level at 620. What does gamma mean? It means that they're, when you buy options and sell options, it creates market maker responsibility to counter those options with some sort of position. And that stacks up gamma levels, basically. And right here, we have a big level at 620 and a big level down here at 600. But it's not what it was. And right now today, for today's expiration, the 18th, we have a pretty large level sitting here. $1.3 billion coming into the day, sitting there at 610. Now, this area is green. That means the market makers are trading against us, muted price action. But if we get into the red, that means the market makers are generally trading with us in their hedging activities. that can exasperate moves faster. That's why drops tend to be more violent and pops tend to be more muted. Not the case in every instance, but that's kind of the long and the short of it. That was bullflow.io. I do pay for access to that. Anyway, moving on. Let's take a look at ES. This is S&P 500 overnight. Tag the first target on the downside. Right there yesterday. Potential for this correction to be done. We could have the Santa rally. Rally on, Wayne. Rally on, Garth. Could be up here by the end of the year. This will be interesting. Ideally, we would go a little deeper. Now, as long as we maintain this downtrend of highs, downside is still likely. So be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Betting long or short. This is a treacherous pattern here, and it doesn't look done. Dare I say, we're coming up into this resistance at the 30-minute line and the 618 right there. And if we turn down, the next move could push us down pretty violently. VIX is running pretty light. Had a little bit of fear in the market, but not much. Certainly not like we had back here on the 20th or the 10th. 10th was this, and then we got more fear, and then we kind of took that back down, and then we ramped it up again, and then we're back down again to a lower low here. So this is interesting to me in particular. A, B, C, perfect proportions. Does that indicate we're going to get another rally? Or we're going to take it back down to the resting rate down here, go visit like 14 for the first time in a while. It's been a year since we've been down to 14. We could do it. So anyway, in Q, nothing's resolved here. We got lots of fib lines on this chart because there's lots to look at. Now, we didn't quite make it all the way down here. Did expect a little bit further. And as long as we maintain this downtrend of highs, well, still very real possibility to go visit that on NASDAQ. This is NASDAQ futures. We are kind of in a bigger correction. We started out with a high back here in October, right before Halloween. Made this low right here, the 20th of November, when kind of we had, it's funny, we had peak fear on the 17th of October. Way back over here. Peak fear, but then on that VIX, this bigger, uglier day, but things haven't really turned rosy since then. This topped out a lower high. This price action, very corrective in nature, but may need one more flush to shake out the weak hands before we can go higher here. Corrective is good, but this price action here wasn't exactly trending impulsive type price action. So this has all been kind of a big correction here. And this could go lower low down here into the end of the year. Santa rally fails here, we could be down. And saw something interesting point out that with the way that we ended up last Friday, you know, that was a week ago. The way that the market kind of did what it did last Friday, and the VIX the way it was, zoom this up, grab Friday right there. But the way we kind of topped out here, the 3 or 4 times that we've done this same sort of pattern with VIX and S&P and NASDAQ, it has preceded a 10% pullback in the market. That would be down here. So I'm always looking for patterns, always looking for parallels. So it's not quite to the 3-day, but it is through the daily roadmap line. Don't have the roadmap line, should go check out the channel homepage. I give you the code for it for free. And if you just you're like, code is not my game, not my bag, baby, I have a link in the description for like $5. You can pick it up. I don't know, it's probably the cheapest thing my company sells that actually has huge value, I feel like, because that's the one indicator I use on every chart. So NASDAQ looks kind of sketch. ES looks kind of sketch. Doesn't negate bouncing, breaking out. At the end of the show, we'll talk about the expectations for the day. Russell did hit the high here, and I said that could mark the top. And so this very well could mark the top. Watch out for a 618 retrace and a turn down in a violent way here. CL still kind of testing the breakdown here. A little bit of reprieve, but if we push down again, easily go down to the 50s. If we get down into that 50, high 40s, 50 area, that can be the bottom right there. Been looking for that for a while. Gold chopping around here. Was down just a little bit when I was checking it out before I went live. Now we're back to almost scratch. A little bit of pop would be nice. Get my gold rush trade into some profit land. And we could come on up here to 44.70. It's entirely possible. Entirely possible. And that could still, what's crazy, even though that would be a higher high, it could still be the B wave that I have kind of outlined here. And we can still go down violently and make a lower low than what we made back there, like right at the end of October. It's still, this can all still be a correction where we were 3 standard deviations out away from the roadmap line here for 7 days. This can all still be part of the same correction, and this can last quite a while. When we poked out over here for 3 days, we poked out that 3 standard deviations, and we spent 5 months consolidating, even with a higher high in there. So we can still do a higher high and still consolidate for a while. Could take us all the way back down in here too. So just be careful. The rallying gold, 2026 is probably not going to be an outperformance year on gold like 2025 was. You know, I had said coming into 2025 that I thought silver was going to be the biggest performer, and it kind of is. But I don't expect that to necessarily continue, at least not the same performance-wise, into 2026. So Bitcoin, trying to hold on to this. It's we got to hold this right here. If we start breaking down at all, odds of crypto winter are very elevated. And for those of you not familiar with crypto winter, that means 10 months basically of lower prices on Bitcoin. Once we make that low in the bottom, then maybe we can look at recovering, but until that bottom happens, probably out there in September, October, yeah, it's probably going to grind lower. That doesn't mean we won't see some, if we do break down, we may see a multi-month rally back up, possibly up into the 100,000 area, but we're not going for a new high until we make a much lower low. And that the low target right now for me in the 30 to 40K area could be higher, but we discussed this ad nauseum in my roundtable that we did on Monday for Termar Trading Lab. And I still, I can't, that's my worst case scenario, like 30 to 40,000. Don't really expect it to ever go back below 25,000, but anything can happen. And so that's sitting out there as a very real possibility. Yeah. I don't know what they got a vibration saw, and it sounds like they're like vibrating something right underneath me. So I apologize. Yeah. I they make other saws, right, for cutting all sorts of stuff. You cut drywall with a knife easier than you can cut it with a vibration saw. But I think it's kind of like they gave these guys a brand new vibration saw, and they're using it to cut everything down there, whether it's metal studs or drywall or pipes or whatever. So anyway, yeah, can't really help it. They're rebuilding the office underneath me. It'll be finished hopefully by the new year. But yeah, whatever they're working on is right there. I can feel it in the floor. There's a giant office underneath me that they're working on, but they're working right there. So I apologize. I guess the mic is picking that one up stronger than some of the other sounds earlier this week. Ethereum, still holding on to the higher low, barely. So same situation as Bitcoin. If we can hold it, great. If we don't, I don't know. This was not bullish price action. It actually sounds like they're cutting stud. Whatever they're cutting, they're stacking it up. I can hear it stacking. I don't know. Whatever. The NKD here, potential to come down. And dollar, also potential to break down and go lower. Apple here. Uh-oh. That's the warning. Breaking through the lows. If we don't save it like we did back here in August, probably coming all the way back down here. Back down around 245, 250 for Apple. Amazon has this kind of head and shoulders cooking in here. Very sloppy. So right now, we're holding on to that roadmap line. Nice little gap back up today after it closed below yesterday. Watch out for this to roll on down in a violent way. Google retesting this zone. We may come on down just a little bit further. Retest this consolidation right here. Still expecting 337, but that doesn't mean we'll hold support. If we don't hold support, this is the bigger one down here with the roadmap line in it. Right now, could take it all the way back down there. Meta, I still like, so we've got that initial move down. I want to see it do this, hold. I'll probably add some exposure to Meta long term, because then this can, if you don't want to try to, nitpick over a couple bucks, the opportunity to load a position now for this potential rally, it's there. Like, we have an initial move up, a nice retrace. I just wanted to see a little bit deeper principle, I guess, and then upside potential on Meta, unlike most of the rest of the Mag 7s. Microsoft here, though, seems to be working on a consolidation under the resistance, above the support, sitting here. If we break up through these highs, next resistance up there, and if we break down, well, down around 415, 420. The floor is concrete, so I'm not disappearing through the floor. It's not like a wood floor. So the Nvidia is back to the roadmap line, and if this doesn't hold, probably coming back down to where we broke out from last year. Just a review for those new, this 150 area where we topped out coming into 2025, right before we came into 2025. We haven't really, when we busted through it, we topped out, retraced pretty deeply into Liberation Day, came back up pretty swiftly. Didn't really, I mean, just kind of spent a couple days there, but took off. Came all the way up here to the 1618. If that roadmap line doesn't hold, we're probably going to come revisit that at the minimum right there. So we're looking for this to hold, but if it doesn't hold, we've got another 20 points of downside before the next major kind of support right there. Tesla is trying its darndest. Look at that. Look at how it respected that 1448. Tagged it, retrace, retesting the breakouts. This is, I mean, this is classic right here. Like, we get to the 1448, we retrace to the breakout. Now we set it up to potentially go up to 500. And then the bigger retrace from back here, where we topped out December and then went for the Liberation Day lows, 550, 600. Been talking about this since all the way back here in the summer when we came up off the lows. When we break out, we can get up in here pretty easy. This is just a watermelon seed squeeze thing we did back here in the summer. We popped, consolidate for several months, and then do the double pop. And that could put us right at 550 right there. And I have TSLL, which is a leveraged ticker on Tesla. I sold puts to get into it. I have, yesterday I counted it up. I have 42 23 strike calls sold for this Friday on TSLL. That's 4,200 shares worth. And then I have 7 35 calls. And then I have the rest of the shares are uncovered at this point. Roughly 6,000 shares worth. That's just a rounded off number. It's probably not even perfectly that number. So sitting here at 22. If I get called out at 23, I'm not crying. But 25 is that roadmap bounce right there. That 3-wave retrace, that expansion, 75% likely to get 25 at least. Then we may retrace to the roadmap line again before we push on higher. Now, leverage tickers, as I say quite often, don't always follow the patterns. This is a 2x daily on Tesla. As you can see, Tesla up here trying to break out the all-time high. This is down here screwing around with the 618. So not quite the same at all. But if Tesla catches a bigger bid, we could see this rallying on up here to 54. Netflix still grinding in here, trying to confirm the low. It does concern me a little bit here with this price action not just getting away from this low, that we may need to push deeper in here, maybe on down in the 88 area, possibly down to 85 area before the bottom can be established. Now we had like 140 gainers today. That's tickers that move $2 or more up in the pre-market. We have like 18 tickers that were on the decliners list. That's tickers moving $2 more down in the pre-market. And I don't update those live. I run a little tool I made and grab that list, then come and do the live show. So MU here, let's delete a few lines. This is potentially topping out. Like, despite having banger earnings, beating on the top, beating on the bottom, being up like 10%, this thing has potential to be topping out here at 276 and embarking on another retrace that can take us down in the roadmap line here. It could be anywhere in there. So be careful chasing that one long. GE Veranova. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we pop up here and got to come back. So GE Veranova probably going to come back again. ASML, upside potential, 1185. Bulls, just sitting here. 3x leverage on FANG stuff. MUU, that's a 2x leverage on MU. I traded this one from back here, or was it? We broke above. So, got to look at MU's chart. So MU, when it broke above this consolidation back here, I jumped on MUU. And we did this retrace, and I was like, well, that's kind of lame, but I'm going to keep holding on to it. And then we shot right up here to the target at 200, and I got off of that trade. So look at that MUU. We were in basically right in here, sat through this, and then got out right in here. And I'm not really, not really sad about being out of it, because if and when this MU retraces, this is probably going to get hit pretty bad, just like TSLL got hit when Tesla did their retrace. You can see this, look how this went all the way back down pretty deep. So we could have that kind of big retrace on MUU, even with a smaller retrace on MU. It's just the 2x leverage nature of a pullback. SNDK probably coming back to the roadmap line eventually. Light starting to struggle a little bit. We did struggle at the 1618, so struggling at the 2618 makes sense. And if we go for the 3618, that's 733. The odds that we retrace are highly elevated. This has been on a tear for months. Usually a ticker that does this 52-week high run thing after consolidating for 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, and then it's kind of run its course, and it needs to do another consolidation. So right here we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe we have 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know. We'll see. Could have 4 more months, but it's on borrowed time at this point. Like any time now, we could go into another consolidation. So app loving. Upside target 788. Lulu trying to get through the roadmap line here. If we can, God, that's annoying. If we can get up here, retrace, hold that, potential for upside. CLS, potential to come down to the roadmap line here. STX, potential to retrace, but this stock is not one that's been known for going exponential. SMH, next upside target is 387, but back to the roadmap line and back to the breakout would, like we see this happen plenty enough right here, back to the breakout. So Goldman Sachs, way elevated, may do a pullback. Coinbase. So is this the initial move up and the retrace right here? There's the low, there's the high, here's the retrace. Is that it? And we can launch off here, or we're gonna break down and go lower. Don't know. There's nothing confirmed here since we're below the roadmap line. Downward bias. WDC and nothing on that. Just be careful on a retrace. And SOXX probably going to retrace. CEG almost touched the roadmap line. Almost. DRI. Oh, DRI coming up. This one could be done on the downside here. Looks pretty good. Grab the 3-day chart. Yeah, it looks like a 3-day bounce. There's the high. There's the low. Coming up into this resistance with a... right there. That zone, if we can get through it, upside 237. And QQQ, of course, we talked about the risks. Let's see, TSM. Probably coming back to the roadmap line, CRWD. So there's a lot of stuff that supports further kind of pullback. This one could be done on this move right here. Here's the high, here's the low. Perfect. A, B, C. May have just a little bit further to go on the C. Could come on down to this 445 area before we actually bounce in full. So looking for that roadmap line to hold, but it could need a little dip lower to actually satisfy the fib lines. LEU. Hunting for support there on the roadmap line. Did push just a little lower. Resistance right now up there at 345. MSTR. This is really close to taking another step down. This thing sucked in a lot of people on that candle, and we may stop them all out before we can go higher. And Restoration Hardware coming up for another roadmap line test right here. We'll see if we can get through it. This could be the bottom in place, but that was a pretty gnarly retrace there, down to a 786. So, can we confirm the bottom's in place, or we're gonna have to go visit lower lows? Robinhood still has potential to come on down. CRDO, roadmap line, DR Horton. A little bit of conflicting path here. That's a potential bottom in place with a higher low, but lower high. Move down, retrace. This can very quickly turn into that right there. Very quickly. Lows, almost the same sort of pattern, like higher lows but lower highs. Weakest form of technical analysis is trend lines, but if we can break out here, we could go higher. AMD still hunting the roadmap line. I don't think this can go higher until we actually touch that right there. So got a little bit more downside to go. A-Lab. Yeah. Maybe we got the bottom in place, but not indicating any kind of strength there. Reddit. About to... If we could break through those highs we've had the last few days, this is good for a potential rally on up to about 300, 299 maybe. And VST, more downside to go. ETN, hunting for the bottom here on this correction. I said 304 might be a good place to bounce. PLTR, be careful. This has triggered the upside potential at 218, but it does still have the pattern to come down here. That downside potential right down in here. BE, same kind of thing. A little bit lower. And then we can find support and bounce right there. Home Depot. Yeah. DJT, partnering with Tay Energy. Probably going to do some sort of merger in 2026 and then build a fusion power plant. And it looks like it's working on 5 down. Be careful. VRT, back to the roadmap line. See if I can bounce there. Build its first source. Still a downtrend. No indications we're done yet. Shopify. So let's set up the bounce here. There's the high, there's the low. 190 upside target. Shopify. AVAV might come all the way back down to this 188 area. Palladium going on a tear. Kind of 160, 170 would be my expectation there. Snow. This could be done like that. It looks pretty good on snow, actually. Let's see. The next upside target is 320. Yeah, that's pretty much a nice correction in place. Ideal levels for ABC. Absolute beautiful correction. Looks like that could be in place and going higher. Target would be right up here. I had drawn this target a long time ago. We hit it right there. Retracing. Next upside target. Time is the hardest part of this whole thing. Let's see if we can hit that one. I may add some exposure back to Snowflake, but it's quite pricey though for, I don't know. Maybe I'll buy another share. NBIS, still not confirmed any bottom. Circle, maybe. Maybe this is a low in place. First move up, retrace. Maybe. Let's see if we can actually get it going here. $618 retrace, so yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'd like to see it, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I've got an alert up here, 112. Put another alert right here at the highs. I'm in CRCA, which is 2x leverage on Circle. You can see it's like $4, so not a bad price if you wanted to get exposure to Circle popping, but it can easily drop down here and cut your value in half pretty quickly. 50% loss. So you can lose half your money pretty quick. Right there. QCOM still will not confirm or break out. Things still consolidating. Year and a half later. Rough. Oracle. Basically gap filling. This gap right there. See if we can hold right there and turn higher. If we do, roadmap line resistance right there around 225, and then 260, basically 270 up there with the 618 level. Wayfair has never had what I need. Is that the low? First move up, no retrace. We're coming up on the 618 of this pullback. We'll see. We'll see. Need a little bit of a pullback to give me confidence we're going to rip on out on Wayfair. Lemonade. This looks like we're setting up for a bigger run here. Could go retest the highs at 185 pretty easy. SC taking a bigger pullback after working so hard to get through that resistance band. We need to probably hold on to this level right here around 94, 95, 90 to 95. We need to hold on to that if we're actually going to go higher on C limited. Let's see, leverage. ARM still looking kind of funky. Little baby Head and Shoulders there. It'd be funny if that was the Head and Shoulders and we actually do take a trip down further. Let's do it properly vertical. Could take it back down in this vicinity, back down around 87. Talked about the fact that they don't make anything, they just design stuff, but they don't make and or sell anything really. They just sell their designs. DJT popping 30% on this merger news. My cost basis is right at 15, so I'm about to be in profit on my 1,800 shares. I like it. I like it. Don't have that up right now. Come on, baby. Let's get to the roadmap line. I actually have 17 calls sold on my position for this Friday, so a little bit more rallying. We can get out of that one. That'd be pretty nice. So we're stretching this move though, right here. This is definitely getting a little. I wouldn't really expect much more than 15 off of this. I mean, it can keep being crazy, but probably needs a little retrace, and then we could get the final move up there. Maybe 17, 18. I do have some 20s sold out to January also. Upside calls. I'm part of the position. Marvell just doing nothing still. This has a potential to go down to a lower low. Life 360 looks like it's gonna, like, that's starting to be 5 down. So wherever this finally bottoms, first move down, fifth move down, potentially we're gonna bottom right in this vicinity here. Do a 3-wave retrace, back up into this vicinity right in here, and then take a bigger spill. So this is probably going to be bearish for a while. Doesn't mean it won't rally for several months, but probably going to be bearish for most of 2026. FBTC, yeah, nothing on that Bitcoin ticker. UAL probably going on up. Targets up here around 130, 140. SOC, nothing. Hey, the sound finally quit. What do you know? And BA coming up to test the resistance here. Got down to that support. Bingo, bango. I had outlined this one, and this one if we were going to go on down further. Looks like this is the magic one right there. So what's next? Run the high, run the low. Coming up on this resistance here at 214, 215. If we can get through it, probably set up for 253, maybe 260. That'll be the upside expectation once we get through that right there. And affirm. Looking for this to come up to 86 and test the resistance. XLK. Maybe heading back down to the roadmap line. Shake Shack. Nothing at the moment. Lots of stuff on here today. Amphenol probably coming back down to the roadmap line. 113. Sats. Maybe played out here. Hit the 110. Absolutely crazy. Looking for this to come back to the roadmap line though. ARKK has come off the bottom pretty nicely, but that was a violent retrace. Bounce at a lower high. Careful, that can take another step back again. Could come down to 63. Spucks. Golly, man. Come on. I have some January calls up here at, I don't remember if it's 90 or 100. One of those. Somewhere either here or here. If we could pop up to the target, that'd be freaking amazing, but we're running out of time here. Got into these back here on this potential pattern back in here, but time is running out. Bummer. Rocket Lab. Target's 82. PANW. Golly, excuse me. Can we hold on to that little retrace right there? If we do, resistance up here at 205 on the path to 230. And we're still grinding that area. ACN, still grinding the roadmap line. Potential to go lower low again. BIRK, roadmap line resistance. It's pretty much done nothing since it went public. Probably going to make a lower low. It's all corrective and overlapping. Probably needs a flush out below the IPO low to establish a bottom that we can build off of. That's like 95% of stuff that does an IPO. 95% starts out in overlapping corrective, even though some of it may make giant moves up. 95% will come back and make some sort of lower low sometime after. You know, some stuff just goes public and then makes a lower low immediately. But 95% of stuff will make that lower low. Very few, like 5%, actually start out and go bullish and keep being bullish and never come back. So, KMX, CarMax has been beat down. Golly. Look at that, lower than COVID. Whew. They need a turnaround plan pretty badly here on CarMax. Short Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going to break down, this is going to pop. If Bitcoin goes on a rip, this is coming back to the lows. So we're sitting right at the, like this ticker, short Bitcoin doesn't show you anything right now. Not really. The tea leaves aren't, you know, telling them much. So if we break higher than 46.50, Bitcoin's probably going down. If we break back below the lows here, around 37, Bitcoin could go back to a new all-time high. And this can go down to a new low. I had two setups for today. HMN. Here's the high, here's the low, there's the entry, target 49. Grab the statistics, 40 trades, 65. Yeah, I wouldn't take it. And PCH. And this is a marginal setup right here also. Look at that. And 44.88 targets. So circling back around to... So I'm not buying FJet. Did I even talk about FJet? SBIT, maybe? SBIT? I'm not sure I would buy SBITs until I'm convinced that Bitcoin topped out. I might buy it above, if we break above that 46.50, I might buy it. That would be a better hedge against Bitcoin dropping than RECT. RECT is so low liquidity. Assets under management, 1.8 million. They could just liquidate this thing. Anyway. Bias for the day here. Let's go jump in here and look at this. So right now we're still in a downtrend on SPX. And we did not get down to a 618. I still have a downward bias here, I think. Even though we got a nice little pop, if we can get above 25.5 on NASDAQ, or NQ, that might be indicative of going higher. And NDX still in a downtrend, still came up shy, QQQ. And we may go with that big gamma level down there at 600. We may bring it on down in here in full. It's kind of my bias right now. Seems we visited 610 and then, yeah, can't ever trust these numbers pre-market. So now that we've got open market and flowing data, big levels up here at 610, but there's a big level down here, 600. Yeah, level up, jumped around. Growing level at 590 too. That'd be pretty rough. That's March 20th, 590. March 20th, that's off the screen. So 600, that's the big level close here. Today, 610. That's kind of where we're probably capped in here. If I had my guess, we're capped in 610 and 600. Probably spend the day in between there through the OPEX. So make my educated wild guess that we stay capped in here through the 19th. Let's see if price can stay capped in here in the box. Maybe what we got. There you go. It's kind of the expectation is maybe a muted grind into OPEX this Friday. Now remember, next week is Christmas week. We do have, oh, there they go with the thing again. We got 2 regular days, a half day on Wednesday, close day on Thursday, and a regular day on Friday. So that'll be it for next week. Have a great day. I'll be on Market Masters 11:30. And back here, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15.